Hello there, friends. Welcome back to my channel, and we're now going to do the west portion of Great Bear Island for the continuation of the location tier list that I had done before. This is video number 2. Now, this is from Mystery Lake all the way west. So Mystery Lake all the way to Broken Railroad and Hush River Valley. Let me go over some of the caveats and stipulations I briefly talked. I'll do it briefly that I talked about in the first video. You can watch that to get a little more full take on it. I'm combining as best I can criteria as far as like bases or loot locations. Early game, late game. Also difficulty settings, interloper versus Voyager. It's mostly interloper because that's the best I can remember now since I've been playing, and it's an imperfect science here, and it's subjective. It's my own take on it a lot, obviously, and if you did your own, it'd be fun to see anybody else do one to have their take on it. But I'm trying to be kind of objective in my analysis too. There's also definitely like things like cool factor that beauty that factor into. Yeah, let's get to it. I think that's about it. A brief rehashing of that. All right. Now, we start off with kind of a spicy one, I think. It's right at Bleak Inlet, and we have the cannery, which is supposed to be the crown jewel of the harsh region of Bleak Inlet. I actually put it as a B because, yes, it's fantastic. However, think about the workshop. The workshop's great. The rifle reloading is great, is awesome. However, if you're playing firearms, you usually have a lot of ammo as it is. I think the milling machine's great, but a lot of times you're finding multiple items. And not to say I'm not trying to get to the cannery when I'm in Bleak. I am. It does often have really great loot in the lockers and so forth there around. Plus, you have more than just the workshop. You have sort of the surrounding area with some great loot. However, some other downsides. You got 2 packs of Timberwolves, of course. Make it really difficult. Having to climb that rope, be underweight. And lest we forget, most of all, not most of all, the maze. Every time you get in there to get the workshop, you got to run through the whole gauntlet. You can't put a rope down to make it easier next time. Yes, there's mods and so forth to make the bridge appear there, but still, kind of a pain in the butt. I put it as a B overall. I don't even think it's the best spot in the region. That I think is a cannery worker residences, which is an A to me. It really is the home base spot in Bleak Inlet, probably the harshest region of the game. Right there, you got the bear makes it difficult, but also helpful because it's can be a food source. You got you got cattails, like 4 of them, 3 of them, 3 out of the 10 that are in the region right there. A couple coal, you got the fishing hut right there. I just think it's a great location as far as vantage point and what you want to do. It's really the setting off point in the whole region. The other side, Bleak, Cannery and so forth, you got the Delta and so forth. So I think this is the hub, the worker residences. Okay, this is Echo 1. What did I have Echo 1 as? I kind of had it a B and a C. Here's the thing about Echo 1. You can get some combat pants in there. It's a really nice spot. But it's just a little underwhelming. And you have to fight the Timberwolves to get there. I'll put it as a C, just to be a little more brave. And it's kind of removed. Once you get there, you're just looking to leave, There's not a lot to do once you finally get yourself over there. Fallen Lighthouse, I also have as a C. You got the rabbit spawn there, but besides that, it's really not great. I mean, in some settings, you do have the flare pistol, so that brings it up. So that makes it nice, but still, overall, I don't like it. It's really out of the way. You have to go across the ice, get cold, get some beachcombing, but still, And it's and you get the big stove there. It's nice too. It could be no, it's not. It's a C. It's kind of a harsh place to be. Now, I have the pensive lookout as a B. You could almost flip flop these with the go one. What puts the pensive lookout, and it's even more tightly guarded by the Timberwolves, so that could almost bring it down more. But it's the target location when you're trying to get to the upper shelf in Bleak Inlet, and I think it's just beautiful. That's the spot where you get all the sunsets of Bleak Inlet. You get the sunrises and sunsets there, and from there you can just go off the rope. So it's kind of convenient that way. So I put it as a B for those reasons. Next up, we have I don't even know what this is called. It's the Raven Falls cabin. It's that cabin when you come down the rope that's by Raven Falls. Now what makes this a B for me is the picnic table with about 2 cans of food. Now, but you also, I'm joking, but you also got you do have that, but you also have like the mushrooms right there and some, I think maybe some cattails by the river, a few, and a very unique stove. I think it's kind of a cozy spot, honestly. It's just a cozy spot, and when you come into Bleak, you're just coming down to the lower shelf. It's kind of is a space for comfort, and it's kind of sappy, but it's true. All right, this is gonna be fun. Next up is the washed out trailers. It's probably a C, but I'm putting it as a D because of my living hell when I did my Bleak existence with it. I had to live there. It's not, it's not a great place to. It really is a bleak existence there. It's very depressing. You have the moose nearby, which is kind of good and bad, but mostly good if you can kill it. What the winds in Bleak are so tough, and you have some rock covering there, but there's no fireplace, and you're always dancing around making a fire there. It's really your whole existence, your whole reality becomes making a fire around that trailer, and it's sad. So, washed out trailers, a rusting trailer in the worst region of the game. That's what you're gonna get. Okay, worst region as far as harshness. This is Hunting Lodge. I have it as an A. The really downside of the Hunting Lodge is it's so out of the way. It's probably at the most removed location almost of the whole game. I mean, yeah. It's probably somewhere in Ash is even more removed. But yeah, it's really nice inside. Lower settings, not low. I wouldn't call Stalker low, but you get, that's where you get some of your firepower there, and the basement you got a workbench, and I just love you can get a moose spawn there. There's rabbits. Yeah, there's 2 guardian wolves, which can make it tough. You can have a lot of great experiences at the Hunting Lodge. The rope can go down from the rope. Take out the bear from up top if you want. So it's kind of a cool place. The only downside is it's at the edge of the world, basically. Maintenance shed. Now this is kind of the hub of Broken Railroad region. Just to make sure, yeah. Hunting Lodge, Broken Railroad. Maintenance shed, Broken Railroad as well. I have it as a B. It's surrounded by wolves. It is just swarming with wolves. And mostly bad, sometimes good. You have the forge there, but there's barely any coal. It's really not a welcoming place, to be honest. It's just littered. There is a stem in the crates you can get, which is nice. You can have some food, some nice stuff in the kitchen, some gear, like a jerry can. The hammer can spawn there, one of the tables. But, it's just it's a hairy place, literally, and it's really sort of unwelcoming. It's very utilitarian at best at times, Okay. Poachers Camp. Boy. Poachers Camp really is a C-ish, but I'm putting it as a B. It is I think it's due to its importance. It has such an importance there it saves your bacon, really. Given the rail line, you're going up the rail line, or if you're going, like, what is that, north-south, or I can't remember. Yeah, the rail goes north-south. Now the rail goes east-west to Broken Railroad. If you're going along the rail line, you are using that as a stopping off point. Usually has a flare inside to keep warm as a stopgap. It's really a stopgap measure kind of place. North and south, you're trying to stop there to survive. So it really is sort of indicative of the long dark in a way, because it's not a great spot overall, but it, relative to dying, it is a fantastic spot, and it does serve that purpose quite often. So I have it as a B. Spence's I have as an S. It's for not being an inside location. You can get, there is a little bit of temperature increase when you get in there, but it's not. But you're open air still mostly. It's tough but otherwise, it's an iconic place in the game. Get tons of coal. That's where you do your foraging a lot. You're stopping off there, staying a couple of days often, and if you're starting off, that's where you get your matches. You can often get some gear, get some important dog food there. Mackinaw is safe sometimes. So Spence's is kind of in my my long dark. When I think of locations in the long dark, Spence's definitely comes up as one of them. So I have it as an S due to its really its importance in the game. And, the experience it gives when you're there. You do have a little bit of wolf activity around, and any episode of anyone's stream where they're at Spence's can always get interesting. Of course, foraging takes a while, but besides that, getting in and out and so forth. Okay, Hush River Valley Ice Caves I have as an S as well, because, yes, Hush River Valley is harsh, especially early on when you spawn there and so forth, but the ice caves have so much loot stuff ready to get you going. They're so helpful. And ear-wrap, combat pants. There is a, scruffy there or whatever, but usually can handle that. It's only in one of the cave systems. But I think it's just so, it's like a treasure trove. That's why it's an S tier. And it's a godsend in the harsh, one of the harshest regions of the game. I also have Camp Office as an S. Yeah, when you think of Long Dark, you think of Mystery Lake. Camp Office Trappers probably, right? So I have the Camp Office as an S, given its central location, all the gear you can often get inside, bedroll, you get your workbench there, and from there you can go off to the fishing huts and go up to the overlook. It's really drives your activity in Mystery Lake, and it's like the classic location in the Long Dark for sure. Definitely in the God tier. Okay, we've got Carter Dam next. Carter Hydro Dam I have as a B. And yeah, I think part of it is it's taxing to loot the whole dam. Everyone knows about the looting the whole dam, how much it takes a while, and watching someone else do it. And you can often get some fantastic items there. Let's see. I had to think of all this stuff in the dam. The other thing to think about is when the aurora hits, the wires can really cook you up. Everyone, I'm sure anyone who's had their first hot experience there can attest to that. So I think it's a central location in Long Dark, but it's not. It definitely doesn't make my top or near top list. But think about if there was still the wolf inside, part of that would make it kind of go down because it'd be tougher, but it would make it a little more compelling again, so it might make it higher. So still, even though there's a lot of experiences outside the dam with those two trailers and the wolf prowling nearby, but still That's a B for me. Derailment, I have as a D. The big thing about derailment is that in some settings, well, if you're using firearms, you can get a gun in there, which is nice. Besides that, it's a really choke point for the wolves, and they tend to overload the derailment. They emphasize this checkpoint because I've seen like 3 or 4 there just hanging around, so it's a pretty dangerous spot. Forestry lookout, yeah, it's all right. The big thing about the forestry lookout is the possible mag lens that you can get there, but it's a little trip up there, and it's good. Don't have much more to say about that. I have lake cabins. This is an interesting one. I have lake cabins. This is the cabins around Mystery Lake. I have them as a D. I think they're probably a C, maybe. I think they're just so trolly because you got a bunch of cabins out there, and yeah, I mean, you'll hit the fishing huts along the way and get some good stuff there with the fishing huts, and do fishing hut things. But when you get to the houses, there's not a lot there as much as you would think there would be. Of course, you usually got to get through a few wolves as well, but they're just so disappointing. I think they're high on the disappointment level. Probably not high on the harshness level because you go there and sleep, you're fine. But I have them as a D because for that reason. They're not as good as it would seem. Okay. Logging camp. Have as a C. When I think of logging camp, I think of blue jeans. That would be really the icon for logging camp, blue jeans. And I think a blue jean for an item is a C level item. So yeah, it fits. I think the burned out house there kind of makes it fun. For some reason, I always think of a fire log being right there too. But that side of the map is kind of rough too at Mystery Lake. It's really dicey over there. There's not a lot over there. And you got the bear, you got the wolves. There's a little bit of hunting around there too, though. Trappers. Okay, Trappers is probably, it's the title screen of the past. Probably one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic location of the game. I actually put it as an A. I think it could be an S, sure. But I like that. One thing I like about it is the vicinity to the transition to Milton. So you have that cave right there. You got rabbits there. Boy, I'm starting to list off some good things. You got the bear roaming in. Sometimes the moose can spawn. You got deer there. And you have a couple of wolves prowling around. I think it's can sometimes induce you to more comfort than it should, though, because I think it's a little bit out of the way, and sometimes some bad weather tends to roll in, and you'll get caught out in it. So I think Trappers is still great. I think early on I'd have it as a Super S. It was my go-to for sure for so long, but I think it's now for me it's at an A level. Still, it still has the appeal for me. It's just not the superlative as it was. Okay, next up, we're going to Milton now. Up to Mountain Town, Milton. I have this is kind of like Milton Central. Represents an assortment of buildings, sort of the town center. Think this is the bank I have the picture of. I have it as a B. Definitely Milton's a good place to go to get loot, get water, get, some good clothing, some food. So it's solid. It takes a little bit of work to go through everything, though. It's sort of annoying to loot. It's worth the cost, though, to get the stuff. It's almost an A, but I guess it's not crazy compelling, but it's a high B. It's definitely solid to good, and it's what helps make Milton one of the most helpful / easier starts in the game. Gray Mother's house is an A for me. That picture, it's a great picture. I have it as an A. It's like Milton Central, but supercharged. The only bad thing is that wolf that tends to be very sneaky around the house. They can definitely get you. There's that shed out back. I've been attacked out there too. But inside Milton or inside the grandmother's house, I mean, the kitchen's great. You get some great food in there. Clothing upstairs. You can usually get a great clothing item. Some essentials definitely, and I think, and it's a place you're kind of when you're in Milton, and the central part of the map, which is the town there, you're sort of hanging out at grandmother's house. It's the hangout spot for sure. Hermit's Cabin. You know, I have it actually as a C. It's kind of a D level thing. But this is in the basin. And you have the cave kind of over here, too. The thing about the cabin, though, you have bunnies nearby. You got some other plants. The moose can spawn back here. Usually some good hunting out there, too, with the deer. There's one wolf competing with you. Maybe actually a couple wolves. But so that keeps it as a C, but obviously it's not suitable for living, as you see right there. And it's not like those containers are giving you fantastic loot, but it is what it is in that capacity. Milton Park is a C. I hate hating on Milton Park because it's just there doing its thing. It's a little house. It can there's not too much out there except for the gas station nearby, and it can be very helpful in a pinch. But it's kind of minding its own business there. So, but it's not providing any great amount of help. It's got a bed in there. I think sometimes does it spawn a bedroll in there? That can be helpful. It has a stove in there too, you know. But there's not much more to it than that. So to me, it's a C, maybe a high C. Okay, I have this transition. I'm calling it the transition trailer. It's the trailer that is close to the Mountain Town Milton to Hush River Valley Cave. I have it as a B. I know I'm not listing these trailers too high, but this is probably my highest one so far. It's got the workbench inside and can get some good stuff in there. And it's the one spot where you're kind of hanging out because you have some hunting nearby, some deer, you have some rabbits nearby, and you have the transition cave. There's one wolf that will really get on this ridge right here just before the trailer and can sometimes bite you in the butt for sure. So you got to be careful. That makes it tough. But as far as trailers go, it's a good one. Gas station. I have as a B. I think I'm underrating a little the gas station. I'm underutilizing it as well. You have to get the pry bar to get in. There's usually some good food in there too, so it's definitely helpful. It might be a high B. Yeah, but you have the clear cut kind of nearby with wolves, and kind of be dicey with that, but it's a pretty good spot. Just not a great spot to me anyway. Pleasant Valley Farmstead. You could almost, I love Pleasant Valley Farmstead. It's an A. No. Pleasant Valley Farmstead. I mean Paradise Meadows Farm, sorry. Paradise Meadows Farm and Milton. Get my two P's mixed up. Yeah. I think of course, the farmhouse is pretty good. It's not great. It's pretty good. You get some good gear inside. The fact that it has the shed, I think, really takes the cake, though. It has the workbench there. You get another fire barrel out there. Kind of adds a different flavor to the spot. Seems like there's always a story at the Paradise Meadows Farm, too. You got those wolves going nearby. You're pretty close to going out to the basin or going back to the church area. There's a deer. Yeah. It's quite a spot. I have it as an A. St. Christopher's Church is a C. Could almost be a D. The thing is that makes it great is you get that pond with cattails nearby and some bunnies and rabbits. Some bunnies and deer, I mean. With the wolf added in the mix. But it doesn't ever it gives you books like the church would, but it doesn't give you much else. So I always feel like it's gonna give me something better than it does. It's almost like when I go there again, I'm thinking maybe in the past I was wrong. This is the time I want to get something, and I don't. I think in the lower settings actually though, you can get a rifle or something, can you, or a knife? So maybe it should be higher for that reason. Now I do recall that just now thinking about that. I've seen a knife spawn there. So maybe it's about a B in the higher settings, or in the lower settings, or the medium settings, But interloper is definitely a C to me. Trestle, I have as an A because think about the game without the trestle. It would be less than it is right now, wouldn't it? I kind of wish it would be even more risky. I mean, it's not that I still don't get concerned when I go across it, but there's not a crazy amount of fear once you've done it enough. But I don't want random deaths in the long dark because of all the thinking and strategy. A random death to ruin all the things you've done is a heartbeat in a permadeath game. So I don't propose that. But if they made it a little more dicey, where you, in a certain state, you had some risk and you had to make a risk calculation, and sometimes you would lose it, I think that would be apt. It would give it a little bit more bite. But even now, it's still tense, and it's just the view whenever you walk into it is still gets you, Okay. Last one, but not least, Fallen Train Car. I don't know what it's called. It's a train car at the bottom of the ravine. I have it as a B because you got a stim inside, or a stim right there, and the flare gun. So, it almost should be an A, but putting it as a B because you can't really live there. I mean, the cave's kind of nice nearby, but it's got those items, which makes it a big, big target when you're playing the game. So that's what you want to go for. All right. 3 S's, 3 D's. Well, look at pretty symmetrical. I didn't even intend for that. I had a sheet where I kind of went over them briefly, but wow, what can I say? So I'd be interested. Anybody else ever wants to do this? You just go to tiermaker.com. Yeah, hit me up if you ever want me to send you the image file, or I think you can use the one I already have on the site. I'm not sure. But this is my list, East and West, and thank you so much for watching and engaging in the rankings, and look forward to seeing you on my next videos. Thanks again.